Good morning/afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to dive into our topic today, understanding reinforcement schedules and applied behavior analysis. This presentation will serve as a comprehensive guide to help you enhance behavior modification by using effective reinforcement strategies. Together, we'll explore how different schedules of reinforcement can impact behavior and how you can apply this knowledge to achieve better outcomes in your work. Let's get started. Applied behavior analysis, or ABA, is a scientific method focused on understanding and changing behavior. At the heart of ABA is the concept of reinforcement. Reinforcement works by increasing the chances that a behavior will happen again, simply by following that behavior with something positive or rewarding. The main purpose of reinforcement is to help shape behaviors over time, encouraging them to be repeated through consistent delivery of these rewarding consequences. This approach allows us to effectively guide behavior in meaningful and lasting ways. When we talk about schedules of reinforcement, we're referring to specific patterns that determine exactly when and how often a behavior gets reinforced. These patterns aren't random. They're carefully designed to guide behavior. One of the key things about these schedules is their impact on how quickly someone learns a new behavior. Some schedules can speed up learning, while others might slow it down. Beyond just learning speed, reinforcement schedules also play a crucial role in how long a behavior lasts. When we choose the right schedule, it helps not only in shaping the behavior initially, but also in maintaining it over time, making sure the behavior sticks and continues the way we want. Here, we're looking at two different reinforcement schedules, continuous and intermittent. Continuous reinforcement means the subject receives a reward every single time they perform the correct behavior. This approach is really effective when you're first teaching something new because it helps establish the behavior quickly. On the other hand, intermittent reinforcement doesn't provide a reward every time. Instead, it's given only some of the time after the desired behavior occurs. This type of schedule is useful for maintaining behavior that's already been learned and tends to make that behavior more resistant to extinction, meaning it sticks around longer even if the reinforcement stops. Understanding when and how to use these schedules is key to effective behavior shaping. A fixed ratio schedule means that reinforcement is given after a set number of responses. For example, a reward might be given every 5 correct actions. Imagine a child earning a token after completing 5 tasks. That's a perfect illustration of this concept. This schedule is often used to increase how often a behavior happens because the reinforcement is predictable and consistent. One of the main advantages is that it usually causes a rapid increase in behavior being encouraged. However, it's important to watch out for what we call post-reinforcement pauses, where behavior might slow down briefly right after the reward is given. A variable ratio schedule is a type of reinforcement where the reward is given after an unpredictable number of responses, but averages out to a certain number over time. For example, slot machines operate on this principle. They might pay out roughly every 7 pulls, but the exact moment a win happens is always uncertain. This unpredictability encourages high and steady rates of responding because you never know when the reinforcement will come. One major advantage of the schedule is that it creates strong resistance to extinction, meaning the behavior persists even when rewards don't come immediately. However, the flip side is that the unpredictability can make it hard to predict when the reinforcement will occur, which can be challenging in some situations. A fixed interval schedule means that reinforcement is given after a set amount of time has passed, but only for the very first response after that interval. For example, imagine praising a student for correct behavior every 2 minutes. This method works well for encouraging behaviors that should happen after predictable time periods. One of the main advantages is that it's relatively easy to plan and stick to. However, it's important to be aware that this schedule often leads to a scallop pattern of responding, meaning there may be slower responses right after reinforcement, followed by a quick burst of activity as the next interval comes to an end. Understanding this can help in managing expectations and adjusting strategies accordingly. A variable interval schedule means that reinforcement is given for the first response that occurs after a varying amount of time has passed, but these time intervals average out to a specific target duration. For example, imagine pop quizzes happening at unpredictable times, but on average, every 3 minutes. This kind of schedule encourages a steady, consistent rate of responding because the timing is unpredictable. It's especially useful in natural or less controlled environments where fixed intervals might not be practical. One of the main advantages is that it helps maintain consistent behavior over time, but it can be challenging to apply precisely since the timing varies. Let's review the key reinforcement schedules. First, the fixed ratio schedule rewards behavior after a set number of responses. This tends to produce a rapid increase in behavior, but it can also lead to pauses right after the reward. Then we have the variable ratio schedule, where reinforcement happens after an unpredictable number of responses. This creates a steady, high rate of behavior and is known for strong persistence. Next is the fixed interval schedule, which gives reinforcement after a fixed amount of time. It's easier to implement, but often causes a scallop pattern of responding, with responses increasing as the time for reinforcement approaches. Finally, the variable interval schedule provides reinforcement after varying time intervals, leading to steady and consistent behavior over time. Each of these schedules has unique effects on how behavior is maintained and shaped. When we're starting to teach a new behavior, it's best to begin with continuous reinforcement. This means providing a reward every time behavior occurs, which helps the learner understand a connection quickly. Once the behavior is learned, we want to shift to intermittent reinforcement schedules. These schedules don't reward every response, which helps the behavior last longer and become more resistant to fading away. For situations where you want to increase behavior quickly and can predict when reinforcement will happen, fixed ratio schedules are a great choice. Just be aware that sometimes learners might take a short break after getting reinforced, so keep an eye on that. On the other hand, variable ratio schedules are excellent for maintaining high levels of responding because the reinforcement is unpredictable, encouraging persistence. Finally, interval schedules, whether fixed or variable, work well for behaviors that happen over time or require steady, consistent responses. These schedules focus on the timing of reinforcement, which can help smooth out how often the behavior occurs. Using these strategies thoughtfully will make your ABA interventions more effective and durable. To wrap up, it's crucial to recognize the importance of understanding reinforcement schedules. They are the backbone of effective behavior modification in ABA, helping us predict and influence behavior outcomes. When we apply these principles correctly, it enables us to shape and maintain desired behaviors in a much more efficient and consistent way. If you're looking to deepen your knowledge, I recommend exploring foundational texts in behavior analysis, as well as current research on reinforcement methods. This will provide a stronger theoretical base and practical insights useful in applied settings.